Melissa.
Hi, I'm Ashley Whitaker.
Hi, Felicia.
Hi, LaQuintus Young.
Hi, Carly Riddle.
Hello, I'm Ashley, and I'm deathly sick today, but I'm still here. Okay.
Do you want to read the question out first?
Okay, we're going to discuss some of the questions. First question is, according to the article, The Five Sexes Revisited by Anne Fausto Sterling, why is the two-sex system embedded in our society not adequate to capture the full spectrum of human sexuality?
So I know that in that first reading, it talks about how there is no, like, especially nowadays, there's no such thing as like male and female, because there's so many other, like, there's intersex, there's like the pseudo hermaphrodite, and there's so many different things. So like, to say that there's just male and female does not even capture anywhere close to how, like, what society has become, because there's so many people that are able to identify in different ways, you know.
It's just not, I don't feel like it's that cut and dry.
Yes.
I don't feel like it's not ever going to be black and white. There's always going to be a big gray area.
Exactly. And especially now with, like, people, I feel like it's become a lot more accepted in society to, like, identify the way that you want.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's fully accepted by any means, but as far as, like, how it used to be, it's a lot more accepted now. So people are able to identify how they want. If they don't feel like they're male or female, they can be who they want to be.
Yep.
So I feel like that makes it, I don't know, it's just, there's no, like, definite male female at all.
And a lot of people get offended by it, but if you think about it, like, it's natural. It's completely natural. Like, if it happens without somebody causing it, then, I mean, like, how can you, I don't know, like, how can you be so against something? I mean, it's not like everybody's, like, for it, but I mean, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like an iffy kind of opinion, because people are so stuck in the same ways.
They're so overtly against things, and it's just, it doesn't really make sense to me personally.
They don't know how to look past it.
Yeah. So I think we've definitely opened up, like, what human sexuality is. It's not black and white anymore like they used to try to make it. I think it's so broad now.
Yep.
Because, I mean, I feel like they just come up with new things every single day of what you can be. And, like, it benefits everybody because it makes, I feel like by doing that we help others feel like they, I guess, like, they belong somewhere. Because there's people that have sometimes felt like, I don't belong anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that that's, like, a good way to, like, to give them the opportunity to belong, I guess. Anything else?
You want to say anything else?
I agree with you guys. I think it's not adequate, and it won't ever be, because it's a social construct that society has placed on for like thousands of years, only two sexes. So, like, if you compare it to races, you know, they had the belief of only two or maybe two in a couple, but there's so many multiracial people that you can't pick it apart.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard for change in a culture.
I agree with you all as well, because I think it is hard for change, you know, in America in general, not only because of traditions, but also you have other things that play into it, like religion and things like that, which make people not think that there are other orientations. They are sticking to man, woman.
Exactly.
It's just all about the categories. I feel like it's just the labeling. Like, everyone, if we feel comfortable labeling things, therefore we can see them for what we think they really are. But in reality, it's not. It's not so.
And we're scared of things we can't put a label on.
Like,
oh God, what is this?
Yeah.
What did you call it? What is this? And you're just like,
Exactly.
I think the society in America just likes to put a label on different things, and I feel like, you know, you can't really put a label on everything, you know. So it all just goes back to, like, racism back then and the traditions that, you know, America has been brought up on. And so now that new changes are uprising, they're kind of afraid and have fear of, oh, what's going to happen now since this is out. So.
And I think it's like we talked about the other day in class, how, like, I feel like we like to give things labels, because if we don't give them a label, then we don't know, and that's like terrifying to us to not know and to not be able to look at somebody and say you are this, like you are definitely this, you're definitely male, you're definitely female. Because anything in between, I feel like we kind of shy away from. So like, we don't know what it is. Like we don't know. Like I feel like sometimes we even have this idea that like if they're different from us, then we can't like click with them in a way. Like if they're so radically different.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like the whole stereotyping and labeling thing is like such a problem in our society. It's like really sad.
Yes.
It's like really sad. Anything else for this question? No. Alright. Number 3. According to the article, the 5 Sexes Revisited by Anne Fausto Sterling. How have intersex babies been treated since the 1950s? Did these doctors work under the John Money model believe that both sex and gender were malleable? So, I mean, this is like what we talked about in class, and I think that they have not been given like a fair chance, like at all. Like, they literally said like, it's basically the doctors decide your fate. The doctors say, you're either going to be male or you're going to be female. So it's not even up to any, I mean, I guess the parents have some sort of say, but like, I don't know. That just like blows my mind that like somebody you don't even know like is determining whether you're a male or female.
Yeah.
And these doctors were under the assumption, I believe, that sex and gender go hand in hand. Like, if you have this part, you're going to act like this. When in reality, there are a lot of football player males who will tell you they're going to go get a pedicure. And there are women who do male things. So just because you have a certain genital, then that doesn't mean that you're going to act out in that particular way.
I think it's called, isn't it called androgynous whenever you're both, like when you have male, I mean, not male and female, when you have masculine and feminine qualities?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I learned that in WGS.
Yeah.
It's androgynous?
Yep. I just think, didn't we talk about in class how the parents were allowed to decide if the babies went, like, had that kind of surgery? And I mean, then they grow up and they're so confused about who they are. And when they finally find out, like we talked about that Max guy, he finally realized where he belonged, or who he was supposed to be, because he was a certain thing, but he was raised to believe that he was female. But in reality, he was neither.
That is such a hard situation to be in.
You struggle with your identity.
Yeah, your whole life you're consumed by what am I, and that's just insane. That is so much to wrap my head around.
Yes.
I've seen a case from that whole era dealing with John Money in the beginning when he first started doing it, and the patient was, they decided that he should be a woman, and he grew up like this, but the parents didn't really have a say so much as, I don't know if the doctors were withholding information or they didn't give her everything that she needed to know or help her make the decision without being persuaded one way or the other. Because out of fear, I guess, during that time. Because I think she had seen him on TV and was like, oh, let me check him out. And I think doctors can do that a lot. If you're not willing to dig deep under their actual cause, then they'll take you into anything.
Yeah, honestly. And I think that, like, I know here it says, like, as far as, like, the John Money thing, it was, like, what makes the best, like, surgical sense. So to them, and I feel like, in some cases, parents are probably, like, I mean, you go to a doctor, and they have been to school for how many years? Like, they know what they're doing. And I feel like the parents, like, put this trust in them and say, you know, you're a doctor, you know what you're doing. So, you know what? Take the John Money approach, and, like, you can, you know, do whatever surgically makes the most sense. And, like, in some cases, it's not about just surgically what's going to make the most sense. It's about hormones and, like, how that person feels as they grow up, how they identify. Like, it goes way beyond, like, surgical. And so that's where I feel like I don't know, that's where it's kind of like such a difference, I guess.
Mm-hmm. On page 15, there's like a little short story about John and Joan. Did y'all read that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's insane too. Because John, like they were identical twins, and John had lost his penis, and they're like, oh, let's just make him into Joan. Let's just make him a girl, and then he grew up and like married a woman. Yeah, and like if that's in your head, I think gender assignment is. I really think it's in your head. It's all like how you feel as a person. It's like in your soul. It's not more of a what you were given type thing. It's more of how you feel.
I feel like they should just wait until the child is able to decide for themselves.
Exactly.
Like you're so in a rush to put this label on them so that they can perform the roles in society that society has for them.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And that, I think from that view, society or the doctors would feel like they have to, because you have to start young.
Yeah.
As she was talking about, if you have a girl, they get talked to more as a baby or as a little boy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a tough guy, so they're socialized very young. So you have let's not give them a chance and see where they can see all these other opportunities and pick on their own, because a lot of people think that children aren't able to make those kind of decisions because they're still immature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I guess I understand like to an extent if it is a serious medical issue and you have to say like they are going to die at the age of whatever if you don't make a decision, then I feel like that may be a different story because it's a matter of life and death. But I mean if they can, which I feel like usually they could survive and be totally fine with whatever genitalia they have, but they just I feel like they like it's not fair. I feel like they could avoid so much like psychological trauma and stuff.
Exactly.
If they were just able to grow up and like figure out what they want to be instead of being assigned this and changing back to this, but feeling this way and feeling confused and having, but like it's just like I just don't think it's fair.
It's not. But then again, if you let the child decide, if you let it grow up and not use pronouns and just call it by like a unisex name and just let it grow up, I mean, what do you? I hate to keep saying it. Like, I really feel bad, and that's not right. But if you let them grow up, and then they get to the point where, like, what am I? They're going to start questioning, like, what the hell am I?
Because they're going to go to school.
Yeah,
they're
going to get
go
picked
to
on. Like, are you a boy or a girl? You know,
That's like
it's going to be questioned.
So, I mean, they have to get assigned something that is kind of like, guess, which one fits you best? Because, like, they're not, if you're a baby, you're not able to say, you know, in 15 years, I think I'm going to be a boy.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, you really don't.
You're innocent. Now, do you guys think that it would be appropriate to give a child a gender assignment, and maybe if they grow up and change their minds, that'd be okay?
I think so.
I think we do that now.
Yeah.
Firstborn.
People who are like open-minded, I guess, because there's still a lot of closed-minded people who don't even consider this to be real.
Definitely. I was just talking to one of my guy friends the other day, and he was like, I'm so scared that, like, when my son grows up, his son's 3, and I was asking about his son, I was like, oh, can your son talk or good? And he's like, yeah, dude, absolutely, he's smart. And he's like, I'm just scared if he grows up and he's going to be gay. And I'm like, what? And he's like, dude, that's, like, my biggest fear is my son being gay. I'm like, why? I was like, nothing's wrong with him if he's gay. And he's like, I didn't say there was anything wrong, it's just, he's like, I just picture my son having this banging wife and having this awesome family, and like him as a 22-year-old, he sees his son's future for him, you know.
And
which I guess is how the parents are. I mean, they do. Like that's what they like. They have a child, and like they like help them grow up and raise them, and like I guess because like I feel like that is a legitimate fear for a lot of people. They say like
definitely.
they're like, and some people may not even like say it out loud, but they would. I mean. I think, and a lot of it, I think, is more of they're worried how society will treat them.
Exactly. I was going to say that. That's a more appropriate fear.
It's not so much like, oh, I don't want them to be gay. It's like, I don't want them to be hated on by the majority of the world because of a decision that they've made. Which, I mean, I can understand that fear, but I think sometimes people they don't express it that way. Yeah. But a lot of people are just like, I just don't want to be gay. Like,
it'll come off a little homophobic, but really, sometimes people are just like, well, I don't want my child to be bullied. Yeah. I don't want them to be criticized for something that they can't help.
Yeah.
I feel like I do have that fear, but then again I don't. Cause like I have a daughter and she's really girly now, but then sometimes she doesn't want to get her nails painted. I'm like, wait, what, girl? Just get them done. And I try to stop because I have to, think like Ashley, just calm down. She's not gonna always be like that. She's not gonna be just like you. She's not gonna do everything you do, but I just try to let her.
Yeah. I've even like, especially after like class on Tuesday, I was thinking like putting myself in those shoes. Like, if I had a son or daughter with ambiguous genitalia, like how would I want to proceed? And like it's so easy to be like, we should like let them decide and blah blah. But if you think about like if you actually have a child, like I don't know what I would do, because I want to say like I just want them to be who they want to be, but at the same time I don't want to put them through the like social and like just like the social criticism, especially in today's day and age. Like that's terrifying, like because you hear people that have those like that grow up that way, and then they end up becoming depressed and like committing suicide, and like that is terrifying.
And it started real early, just like that's similar to the case with that little boy that was wearing that My Little Pony backpack to school.
Yes.
And it went as far, and now he's dead. And it took it that far as people bullying him about wearing a backpack that's not supposedly meant for a boy. So it's scary.
I think it's important to note with this question that the author was trying to make it a point that the doctors and physicians should not make this seem like a medical and social emergency. Like it has to be done, or else.
Like it's life or death, but in reality, it's not.
It's like taking off my finger because it's crooked. Like it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Good analogy.
That's so true.
I think the John Money approach would be, I don't want to say acceptable, but I want as close to acceptable as it can possibly be. Because if you think about it, what other option do you have?
Well, I think that, I don't know, because I'm on the fence with his model, because I feel like if you're going to give that much power to physicians and parents, but then on the other hand, people are so against abortion, but you didn't give, you know what I mean? Like that, you're making decisions that aren't yours to make. It's not.
I don't know. I just feel like there's almost like there's no good way to go about it.
There's not.
Like there's not like a right and wrong way. Because like, I don't know, like I just, so if you think about it, like, I mean, I don't fully agree with the John Money way, like by any means, but at the same time, it's kind of like what you were saying, like what else can you do? Like there's really not, I don't know how
wait
else.
like 5 years, because usually children they're still in between at 5 years of age because they have all these different people, but at the same time you can kind of notice that they're doing specific characteristics or behaviors. And I don't think it will be that much. It's probably, I'm sure it'll be painful, but it's not going to be that much big of a deal if you wait 5 years and see how they act themselves in society.
We also need to consider their environment and all the influencing going on with the people around them. Social influence, their family, friends, peers, teachers, like all these people have a lot of influence on all of us from the time we're little until even present. So much influence.
And even like cultural values, family values, like, if you were that person who they let wait till they're 5 years old, well, what if they're like devoutly like devout Christians and stuff? Like it's like, how would that work in the church? And it's like you have to think about what outside influences like really, because those do have a huge influence on that, because would they be accepting of that? Would they not be accepting of that? Would they say, like, would they be the ones to say you need to be this gender, you need to be that? Like it just makes you think, like, it sucks. There's like it's like a no-win situation.
You can't get away from society, because if you take that approach, society is still the physicians and the doctors making that decision.
That's why it's like, it just sucks. Like it sucks. Like there's no other way to put it. Like it just sucks.
Exactly. I don't really feel like it's the doctor's choice to really make the decision if the child is, whatever gender. But the parents have so much trust in the doctors because I guess they would know more about the situation and they have the education and all of that. So, I mean, it just goes back to like social construction, like you were saying earlier. So,
I just think doctors are corrupt. Honestly, like, I really just think, I mean, they're paid all this money and they get to make all these decisions, but in reality, are they the best decisions? Most of the time, they're not.
Some of them aren't even medically sound. Like they're still putting their opinion into it, or how they
Their
feel
medical
about
opinion.
It. Yeah.
And it's like, they all the doctors like take that oath of like, we will do whatever we can to like save the child. So I think they're like, their minds they have is saying like, okay, well, this could potentially be life threatening. So you know what? We need to make our own gender assignment right now because you never know, it could be life threatening. Like I feel like they kind of like use their own, like they kind of like try to justify it in a way, I guess.
Did we want to say anything else?
I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay.
According to the article, The Five Sexes revisited by Anne Fausto Sterling, how does the case of Max Beck inform us about the fluidity of sex, gender, and sexuality? How does this case illustrate that sex assignment at birth is only the beginning of a very long journey? Oh God, it is the beginning of a very long,
We've
tragic
already mentioned
journey.
that. The psychological, emotional, social, I mean, it all correlates.
Yeah, his life was just a big mess, but in the end, like, I'm glad he found out who he really is and who he was meant to be.
Yeah. I was glad that his wife stayed with him.
Oh yeah, like that
Very
is ride or
supportive.
die right there. Like
That's
seriously,
Exactly.
who really? If you think about it, what kind of she must be like a really wholehearted, just accepting person because if you can be with somebody who is transgender, like if you can really be with somebody like that and accept their every flaw and accept their changes, and like if she was like a lesbian at first and then it completely changed up, you know what?
Yeah. Didn't have
And she was
family.
happy.
Yeah, she
in
was
her
really
lesbian
She's been happy the whole
relationship.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane, but
Yeah.
kudos to them. Definitely kudos to them.
I'm not
They will
staying
not
for
do
that.
that.
They'd be like,
Right.
no, you're not.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
Exactly.
it literally blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I were in her, like, a lot of times I try to put myself in their situation and say, what would I do in that situation?
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. If I was, like, completely, like she said, like, she found her community, like, she found where she belongs, and then all of a sudden now she's dating a man, not a woman.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, everything that she thought she believed in has been completely uprooted and changed and turned around 5 million times.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's insane. Like I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
She also said that when he finally told her like how he really felt, she said that it didn't change anything. And so I was really, that made me
that's
happy.
so
She said it didn't
That's
change
true.
anything, and that's true love right there.
That's
It
real
is.
true.
It
I
is.
think this case informed us of the fluidity, not particularly sex, but of gender and sexuality, because he like broke all social barriers. Like he was heterosexual at one point, then
Because when she was younger, she was with a man.
bisexual. Yeah. So I think it just goes to prove that gender is made up.
Yeah. It's just socially constructed.
Yeah, definitely. And it goes back to the labeling thing.
Yeah.
That's where it all roots from. And I think that as far as the how does this case illustrate that sex assignment at birth is only the beginning of a very long journey, like that video shows you like she literally he I don't know what to I guess he went through, being born with ambiguous genitalia and then being a woman who dated a man and then a woman who dated another woman
Yes.
and then a woman who married a man and then a woman who like just I
And then
can't imagine.
hospitalized.
And then hospitalized
depression.
Dude, that is, I can totally see that. Having, like, problems like that myself, I could totally see how that could be so traumatic.
Yeah.
And he's probably on some type of medicine, to be honest with you.
know it.
He's probably on some type of medicine to get his mind right, to where he can be happy again. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's just nothing. If you're happy, you're happy.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, it's just all psychological.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like. I mean, I think it just messes with you to never really know where you fit in, who you are, where you belong.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
It could definitely be traumatic. Y'all ready to go to the next question?
Yeah.
Okay, according to the article, I'm not reading that again. With a world where the variability of gender is so visible, why do you think that medical institutions and the public so resistant to ideas of gender and sex diversity? Or why are we reluctant to move away from the fictional and idealized version of two diametrically opposed sexes? Why do we tend to flatten out gender diversity rather than expand it?
I think it's because we love comparison. Because if you have two completely opposite things, such as man and woman, there's a bunch of comparisons that you can make there. Some of them, or most of them, not true. But when you have two, or somebody who's in the middle, you don't know which part to judge first.
Exactly. Like we said in class, it was on the PowerPoint. She wrote out that there are very few differences in male and female. So it's kind of weird that we're put into these two categories when we're so similar. But we do like to compare male and female, although there's not really much to compare in reality.
Yeah. So, oh no, this is like a very loaded question.
Yeah, definitely.
So, as far as like why are we reluctant to move away from the idealized version, is because it's what we've always known, and like along with liking to compare things, I feel like this may not be true for everyone, but personally, I love structure. I like routine. I like plans. That's what I thrive off of, and so I think that we have become so used to it's only male or female, it's only boy or girl, it's only, girls play with Barbie dolls.
It's hard for us to accept
Limited.
anything else.
Exactly, because we've literally had that drilled into our heads for as long as we can remember. So it's like, it's honestly, I feel like society trying to change how we view that is almost like, not traumatic by any means, as Max Beck, or I can't say his name.
Max, you said it.
Yeah, so, but like, it's almost like the same type of process, because he believed one way and then had to completely change it because of that. So like, I think it's just, we like the structure, we like what we know, like we are drawn to what we're familiar with.
Yes.
So when that's changed, it's like we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It would be cool and they probably already have these out there, but I'm gonna say this. If they had like special therapists who study like what was it you said, ambiguous genitalia, people with that kind of condition.
Yeah.
If we had people specifically like at every hospital that just studied that kind of,
They can identify.
yeah, and they could
help
like
identify.
counselors, they could help people
Yeah.
too.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you.
No, you're fine.
Oh no, I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like that can help, but then again, I feel like they might feel like they're being singled out or something. Like, why do we only go to this therapist? Why can't we go to the doctors that everybody goes to? Because in their mind they are what they are. And I think another reason why we're so reluctant to move away is because I feel like some doctors or medical personnel will have to go back and relearn a few things, because in medical school, like, you don't learn a lot about other orientations and this and that. Like, now they're moving to where they're trying to make people more culturally aware, but not sexual orientation aware. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they have to go back, do that work.
They don't want to put in that kind of effort.
No.
Does anybody know how often, like, the ambiguous genitalia, like, how often they see that?
We can Google it.
Because I just
Let's
makes me
Google
curious.
it.
Like,
It makes me curious too.
Because, like, because, like, honestly, even before this class, like, I mean, I've heard of it happening or whatever, even in, like, TV shows or something, like, I'll watch Grey's Anatomy, so, like, I'll see it in that.
Yeah.
But, like, I wonder, like, if it's really
I don't know
how
about now,
prevalent.
but in the book, as far as intersex goes, it says for every 1,000 children born, 17 are intersexual. Page 14 is where she has her stats. And then
that
probably
makes sense.
between
I had
1
to make
and
sure that
1,000
I'm still there.
Yeah, I'm still here too.
and 1 in 2,000 live births. This is sort of intersexual.
Do you think because it's not totally or socially acceptable that it's underreported? a lot of these cases aren't reported.
That's true.
So a lot of cases could be left out of these statistics that we put in textbooks or that are online. They're just totally.
And especially if they go ahead and like make that gender change, like they could just be like, oh well, they were born a boy, it's a boy, like you know, because I mean, I feel like honestly, it's easy as a doctor to kind of just sweep that under the rug, just be like, okay, let's just snip that off or put that in or whatever, and it's awful, but like I don't know, it's just. I had never really thought about that, like if that would happen to me.
It makes you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the reason why you don't hear about it so much is because that's why we tend to flatten that and let it die out. It's like, well, this is something new, you know, we don't want to hear about this. We don't want to mess up America.
It's just gonna pass.
And yeah.
Like a lot of a lot of trends kind of they die out.
Yeah.
They think that it's gonna die out, but in reality, it's not going to.
It's not.
Yeah.
Because this is not something. It's not like a style or anything. It's
No.
not like you know big hair is gonna like die out. Like it's like this is something that like it's like a biological thing. And so like I just think as society, if we ever want to be like cohesive, we just have to be accepting. Like I feel like just being accepting. And, like, you don't have to be best friends with everybody, but, like, I feel like just accepting it and not being so, and being so judgmental. Yeah.
You pick and choose.
Like, but, like, you can have your own views, but I just don't think it's fair to...
If you're not hurting anyone.
Exactly.
Like, that's what my family and I say. If you're not hurting anybody, like, why do people care so much? I don't understand that.
Exactly. No, I absolutely agree.
People just like to have a say-so.
Yeah,
on
that's
their
control.
things, and they like
Control
to
is
label
Freedom of
everything.
speech, so they think they're going to use that to their advantage.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next question.
At the end of the article,
The Five Sexes Revisited. By Anne Fausto Sterling.
urges us to move away from a focus on genitals. Why might this hyper-focus on genitals keep us stuck in old ways of thinking?
Genitals make us think male or female.
We directly relate the two together. Like
Yes.
sex and gender are always related,
Yeah.
even though they're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, I feel like that's the main thing is like when you focus on genitals, you think a male has a penis, a woman has a vagina. There
We've
you
just
go,
been taught
we're
that
done.
forever,
Yeah.
for so long.
And so that's why we're so stuck in that old, like I feel like that keeps us stuck if we identify it in that way. And that's why like even I don't even remember which reading it was, but like trying about like if you look at somebody on the street and like you see somebody, can you tell if they're male or female? We're automatically like, duh, yeah, of course. But like, can you really? Like even and they're like, what if people walked around without any clothes on? Bless you. And it's like, can you even tell then? It's like no, because there's internal stuff. Like even like it goes so far. It's like is gender even a real thing?
I think also when it says she urges us to move away from the focus of genitals, because when you have gender on like job applications and stuff, nobody's going to check your see if you have a penis or not. They should look. It says that they should look at more things that you can actually see, like height and
Exactly.
other masculine or feminine attributes, but at the same time you have feminine looking males and masculine looking women. So the whole idea of gender shouldn't even be.
So even related to employment, there's that marginalization going on because they like want to identify you male, female, or other. I feel
And
like
I think that goes to, women, for statistics, like so they can figure out what to pay you. But if you don't know
But
what kind of
others
genitals
I don't
people
like
have,
the word
then
other.
I know that's just
I
so.
don't like
I
the
don't
word
like it.
other.
Like that either.
Male, female, other.
If they put other orientation, would you like it better, or would you still want something?
Special. Different.
I just never really like the word other. Just seems so. I don't know. Yeah,
It just seems like it has like a negative connotation to
exactly.
it. Other.
But if they have masculine and feminine, like as you said, like you could have some guys who go for an interview and they're a gay male, but they go in there and put on their suit and tie just so they can get the job.
Exactly.
And Yeah.
Exactly.
Not what you thought
Even
they
things
were.
like on page 14, it says that idealized story papers over many obvious caveats. Some women have facial hair, some men have none. Some women speak with deep voices, some men veritably speak. So it's like even those like obvious things is like that can be changed. Like that doesn't just because like a guy, I don't know. It's just like so like women have facial hair. Does that mean they're male?
Yeah.
Or like guys don't have like a woman has a low voice, like does that mean that she's a male? Or like if a guy has a high voice, does that mean he's a female? Like it's just like stuff that we automatically associate with the the two genders, the two genders that we are so
You assign certain characteristics to certain.
exactly.
And if you focus so much on genitals, then you would have to go again and categorize males by the inches of their penis.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
males are not all the same size, so then you have to categorize that, and if you're above this inches, then you can get this job, or
Like,
But,
and
I
it's
mean,
crazy
it's
because if you
dumb.
think about it like that, it's like that's so stupid.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like that's how it is now. It's just it's just viewed in a different way. But like literally, that's literally how it is now. Just not they don't view it in that way. But it's just like I just want to be like, why are we so stupid? Like, why do we do that? Like, it just like blows my mind.
But when you do it, you don't think about it, but then you have to like take yourself back and stay back and be like, if I do this, am I gonna step on somebody's toes that I may not realize I'm stepping
Exactly.
on? Yeah. You really gotta, and that's what I'm about to get off topic here for a second, but like, that's what when I came to UNCG, like my complete, I feel like my peripheral vision just changed completely. Like anything, it's that I have, like everything that I've seen before, completely like flipped around. Like I'm so aware of other people's differences, and I'm like more accepting of that.
And even if you're aware, you take a class like this and you get
Oh, yeah,
sound
definitely.
ground of I understand everybody's point. We're all still gonna go out of this class and see somebody and be like, is that a guy or a girl?
Yeah.
What?
And like
We're
I
still
feel
gonna do
like
it.
to an extent, like we're still even gonna judge them in a way and be like if I mean we can sit here and I can keep on saying like I believe there's no such thing as gender, everybody's the same. But I'll tell you what, if I see a man walking outside on high heels, I'm gonna be like, what are you doing? And like that's how society
But it's
is.
completely okay to wonder. It's not okay to judge, but it's completely okay to think to yourself, okay, I wonder.
I think we've
I
all,
wonder what's
I think
down
everyone
there.
has been questioned. We are all questioned by people, whether it's out loud or silent, but we've all been questioned before.
Yeah.
No, maybe not for our gender, but maybe just for our appearance, how we walk, how we talk, stuff like that. But I don't know. I think we've just all kind of been questioned.
I agree.
I think there's a difference, maybe thin line between questioning and judging. It's like she said, you can wonder like what in the world, but if you just go up to them and be like, well, why do you have on heels? You look ridiculous.
Exactly.
That's a totally different thing.
Well, why are we wondering in the first place?
Yes.
Like, why is it so important for us to know, are you a man or a female?
It's all about the group. It's like the labeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it all goes back to that because we really, we can wonder, but at the same time, like, what you're right. Like, why should we have to? Like, why does it matter? Is it hurting me that he's walking around in high heels?
Yeah.
Is it doing anything?
It's
to
probably
me?
hurting his feet, but it's
Right.
not really hurting anybody else.
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
so then what's the point? Like,
Yeah.
why am I even wondering?
I think from a maybe historical, I don't know if that's a proper word, but we want to know. So if like for procreation reasons, like I want to know if you're a male, so that I can talk to you and maybe we can later in life have babies. But
I think it goes back to that too. All about procreation.
I think it goes back to that, but I feel like if I even have to question you on if you're a male or female, I'm not even gonna worry with trying to have kids with you because you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But subtle difference because
100%,
nowadays, there's men in businesses you never know, and they're not gonna tell you unless you ask.
Or find out
Because they're
And even then, I don't even know if they'd say anything because they're so scared of being like criticized and like judged, which I would too if I were in that situation because they're honestly like the minority. So it's like it sucks so bad. It really does.
It kind of makes me think, when those people they pick other on like applications and everything, do they get the same opportunity if they had just picked male or female. Like,
That's true.
That is true.
I feel like maybe more so now than 10 or 15 years ago,
Yeah.
because 10 years ago this wasn't, I mean, it was a thing, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. It wasn't as accepted as it is now. So maybe right now in the future anyway, when you pick other, you will be hired and you have the same opportunities. But I feel like it's still just kind of coming into play right now.
I don't even think they question the other, because then you have to question all types of things, and then you'd have to tell them, well, I have both parts, and then they're gonna be like, what? And then it go into a whole
Confusion.
debate that they don't even want to be in.
Mhm.
And I feel like, and then a lot of them would just be like, okay, I don't even want to get into this. So, like, sorry, like, you know what? It's just not going to work out. Our times aren't right. Like, I feel like they make up excuses. But it's like, you know what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's because it makes you uncomfortable. And, like, that's the main thing. I feel like that when people get uncomfortable is when they, like, squirm and they just get to the point where they're like, I don't even want to get into it. I'd rather just, like, get it away from me. It's awful.
Yeah.
Instead of just, like, taking the time to, like, try to understand, it's like they just push away. And I do the same thing. I mean, I'm totally guilty of it, which, I mean, like, I just want to, like, hit myself in the head now. I know, because I'm, like, totally, it's totally true. Like, I've done the same thing, so.
Do you want to say anything else?
I think that's pretty solid, because if we get to another question, we're literally never going to stop. Do y'all want to do another question?
We have to talk for 45 minutes, right?
Yeah. So we have
I think we'll do one more question.
3.5
Okay, one
minutes.
question.
Want to do 12?
Let's just get through that.
Okay.
Let's do that.
While recognizing diversity is trendy these days, how might our ways of recognizing diversity actually be very problematic? Because like we were talking about before, like it'd be easier to judge somebody.
Yeah.
Easier to kind of question, be curious.
And I think that, like, when we sometimes we don't recognize it in, like, a respectful way, or, like, in the right way. Sometimes we do it because we want to be trendy.
Yeah.
Like, we recognize somebody else is diverse in the world because we want, like, we want the recognition of, like, oh, like, I was nice to that person, and they're different from us, so, like, you know, like, I'm cool kind of thing. And then it's like, I mean, I feel like they would just rather you not do anything if you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
And like in this, like from maybe a professional standpoint, if he recognizes that somebody is intersex, he's probably gonna go through all types of motives and motions so he can make more money off of it. Oh, I found this. Like, say it's a hospital who's never had this situation before, and oh, I'm the doctor. I discovered this in this facility. Let me get all the publication I can for it so I can progress.
Exactly.
Well, like in the 50s and 60s, when everyone was really closed-minded, it was you fit in if you were closed-minded. That was the norm, to be judgmental. But now it's like it's cool to be open-minded and accepting. When a lot of people really weren't, but now they are. Because
I think our generation is completely different than my parents' generation.
Yes, definitely.
We haven't moved into that like complete separation. Like when our parents die off, and then our children, then it'll be all everybody
Like,
recognized.
We'll have the opportunity to raise them different.
Recognizing diversity is going to step on a lot of people's toes who are
Yes.
still in the 50s and 60s. Those are your parents.
You have a daughter, don't you? How do you go about, this is just from like I'm curious. How do you go about teaching your daughter? Like, how do you tell her about differences and stuff like that? Do you tell her to be accepting, or?
I do, and for the most part, she's accepting, but as a little kid, you notice things, because even being little, you are still in this society. So if you see a guy, if she sees a guy with heels, she's like, Mom, do you see that guy with those heels on? Like, yes, well, I see it. It's fine. There's a lot of people like that, you know what I'm saying? So even when they're in school, they're, society, everything.
So do you say certain things to her to make her be like open-minded and be like, well, there's nothing wrong with that?
I mean, yeah, I'll tell her that, because she doesn't go as far as saying like, oh my God, I just cannot believe like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, if it does go that far, I let her know like, look, there's a whole bunch of different people. Whether you're gonna be with somebody else, you're with a guy. Like if she sees TV and something has to come on and two guys are kissing, oh my God, Mom, can you believe that they are kissing? Like you have to let her know that in the world there are gonna be people who like each other and things like that.
Yeah.
So it gets hard. It does get hard.
But as a mother, like it's a struggle. It's probably a constant struggle of
is,
teaching
you're
your kid
always
that.
thinking, well, I'm gonna teach her the right thing. I don't want to teach her something and then
Exactly,
go back
I'm
into it.
sure.
She just, you know what I'm saying? So
It's a lot of responsibility.
yeah,
It is good that you're teaching her that way.
Yeah,
But
and
then,
I think
you know,
school has helped me a lot with teaching her that because, like, in my home we're all accepting, but then again we're Christian, and so we still have that thing like, look, there's men, there's women.
Exactly.
So it's hard, but I think coming to school and being in classes like this, I've learned to better teach her.
Exactly.
Because you're learning yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
that's awesome. That's good. Good for you.
Alright.
Alright, we're all still here. We're all still here. All of us. Bye.
Bye.